Greetings, hello everybody, welcome to another TOP. Today is Tuesday, and we've got the Chicago White Sox over here. We're talking about them today and their outlook for the 2024 season. Last year, they were 61 and 101. Very close there. They finished 4th in the AL Central, 13th in the AL, and 27th in the MLB. They're going to end up falling down a spot. They'll have the 5th round pick, and we look at their stats from last year. They were 26th in runs allowed, 26th in ERA, and 29th in runs for an offensive team that wasn't very offensive. They made a lot of switches this offseason. Starting off, they're adding catcher Martin Maldonado. They acquire Tim Hill. They acquire Paul DeJong. Eric Fetty, remember that name? He's back from the KBO, signs with the White Sox. Max Stassi they got from a trade. Mike Soroka, or should I say Michael Soroka, as he's now going by. They acquire him in a trade. Nicky Lopez, Chris Flexen, Dominic Fletcher they got in a trade, and then a couple of minor league deals from guys you know: Brett Phillips, Mike Moustakas, Corey Knebel, Jesse Chavez, Dominic Leone, Kevin Pillar, and Danny Mendick. So quite the list of guys fighting for spots this spring training. That's because they've got holes to fill because they lost some guys. Aaron Bummer is out of the picture. He's on to new things there. Yasmani Grandal, he's heading to the White Sox. Excuse me. He was in the White Sox. He's heading to the Pirates, is what I meant to say there. Elvis Andrus, Liam Hendricks, longtime closer. He's out the door. Mike Clevenger, Tim Anderson, Keon Middleton, and Gregory Santos they sent away in a trade as well. So some moving parts there for the White Sox. Taking a look at that rotation, of course, as of recording, Dylan Cease still not traded, still a Chicago White Sox. Expect that to happen at some point. Obviously, the White Sox are hoping they have to use him and start with him this year, that they can maybe flip him at the deadline if he's pitching well. Of course, he still has a year on his contract, so they don't need to be too hasty, but the White Sox will not be good. Coming in that number 2 slot, Eric Fetty, Michael Kopech from the 3, Michael Soroka at 4, and then right now Fangraphs has Chris Flexen listed as the 5 guy. The bullpen, nothing special, nothing crazy. Without Liam Hendricks now, the closing job goes to John Brebbia as of now. They have guys there: Jimmy Lambert, Tim Hill, Davey Garcia from the Yankees. Some of you might remember him. Touki Toussaint is still around pitching it. And then, of course, Garrett Crochet is, the hopeful piece there. There was some news that they're going to try to maybe convert him into a starter this year as well. So we'll have to see how he does. And then right now, Fangraphs has 2 non-roster invitees, Jesse Chavez and Brian Shaw, listed as well. Taking a look at that lineup, it's guys you know and guys they just got. Leading it off, Andrew Benintendi playing left field. Batting second, first baseman Andrew Vaughn. Luis Robert Jr. in center field. That's the mainstay, the guy you should know. Yoan Moncada in the 4-hole at third base. Eloy Jimenez, the DH. Dominic Fletcher in right field, Paul DeJong, the shortstop, Nicky Lopez at second base, and then Martin Maldonado batting ninth. The projected bench right now is Max Stassi as that backup catcher. Gavin Sheets, what kind of a year can he have? And then right now it's filled up with 2 non-roster invitee guys, Danny Mendick and Kevin Pillar, the 2 expected to break with the team, according to Fangraphs. This is a White Sox team that is, obviously we can go. Everyone's got major league talent. We're working our way from the bottom to the top. There are guys here. Luis Robert Jr., one of MLB's best players right now. He's batting third. He's going to be on this White Sox team. And there are guys there are guys that are new. Like I said, Dominic Fletcher came over from Arizona. Paul DeJong, kind of a replacement or a holding piece for now, because of course the White Sox top prospect Colson Montgomery, shortstop, he's expected to debut at some point next year. Maybe he'll get called up September of this year, and he's supposed to be a big splash into the White Sox future. So, DeYoung, he signed a 1 year deal. He's only going to be here 1 year. If we take a look at the White Sox free agents for next year, they have a couple of names to note here. Some of the ones that they signed this year for 1 year deals: Tim Hill, Paul DeYoung, Chris Flexen. Michael Soroka will be a free agent as well. Spent a lot of his time injured, but he has made up his 5 years of service time, so he will be a free agent as well. And they have a couple of club options here: Marcin Maldonado and Max Stassi, both with club options. I expect to take one of them. They do have a catcher in their prospect system, Corey Lee, a guy that I heard of when he was with Houston. He is now a White Sox. I like him a lot, so hopefully Corey Lee has a chance to come up and have some good moments there. Also on a club option, Eloy Jimenez. That's a big one and an interesting one to watch. John Brebbia, who is expected to be the closer, he has a mutual option, so he could be a free agent as well. And then Yoan Moncada is definitely the one I want to start here with and start talking about, because he has a club option for $25 million. And if we look at Yoan Moncada's numbers, they don't speak $25 million. Last year he was hurt, spent some time recovering from that. He only played 92 games. In those games, 87 hits, 11 home runs, 40 ribbies, a 260 batting average, and a 730 OPS. Definitely not $25 million worth. He was good. He came up with Boston at the age of 21, played 8 games, and then got traded to the White Sox, where in 2017 played 54 games, was good. 2018, he led the league in strikeouts, but then 2019, he had a phenomenal year, had 161 hits, 25 home runs, 79 ribbies, and 915 OPS. That's where he got the deal, I believe. And since then, he has been not himself. 2021 wasn't a bad year, a 787 OPS with 137 hits. 2022, down year for all White Sox players. He had a 626 OPS in 104 games. He was struggling mightily. And last year, dealing with injuries, but was playing decently. Excuse me. But is he worth the $25 million for his club option? My guess is no. Now, don't get me wrong. There are players, when you look at the 2024, salary rankings, there are players above Yoan Moncada that don't deserve the money. AKA Javi Baez making $25 million, not worthy. Carlos Rodon, so far with the Yankees, he hasn't been worth his $27 million a year. Giancarlo Stanton at 32, and Carlos Correa at 33, and of course Steven Strasburg and Patrick Corbin, the national deals. Yikes, especially Patrick Corbin. Anthony Rendon, the 6th highest paid player right now. Is he worth the money? He's not acting like it. But there are guys who are being paid less than Yoan Moncada, who are definitely worth more than him. Aaron Nola, George Springer, Luis Castillo, Kevin Gausman, JT Realmuto, Zach Wheeler, Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Pete Alonso, Joe Musgrove. That's just a small list of guys who I think are worth more than Yoan Moncada. Third base is a very deep position. There will be some good free agent third basemen available, but the White Sox aren't going to be good. I don't think they need to pay him this money, so I definitely don't think Yoan Moncada will be around much longer. A guy who probably will be for a little bit more is Luis Robert Jr., the star of the White Sox team. He's got couple years of contract left on him. He's a very good player. He is essentially the next Mike Trout. That's what he was being called when he was coming up in the league. And so far, he's had some ups and downs, but it's mostly been ups. An all-star, a silver slugger, and a gold glove. He finished second in Rookie of Year voting in COVID year in 2020, where he won his Gold Glove. And then last year, 2023, his best year and kind of the year he established himself into the majors. 145 games, the most he's played in a year. Had 144 hits, 38 home runs for the kid, 264 batting average, and an 857 OPS, an all-star, silver slugger, and finished 12th in MVP voting. A very good year for Luis Robert Jr. Those are some guys to note in the batting categories, but I want to talk about some of these pitchers. And let's start with Michael Soroka, because I've mentioned him when the trade originally happened earlier in the offseason. Michael Soroka, if he can get that 2019 form, an all-star, 6th in Cy Young, 2nd in Rookie of the Year, 29 games, 13-4 record, a 2.68 ERA, if he can get that back, Michael Soroka is going to be a great pitcher. 2020, obviously COVID year. That's where all the injuries started. He missed 2021 and 2022 due to injuries. And last year, he was able to come back from said injuries, but it didn't last long. And when he was playing, it wasn't great. He played 7 games with a 6.4 ERA and a 2-2 record. So hopefully a change of scenery will help him get back to form with the White Sox the way he was in 2019. I would love nothing more for Michael Soroka to be the Michael Soroka of old. Another pitcher to talk about, of course, Dylan Cease, the star of the White Sox rotation. This guy is one of the best to do it right now, considering he hasn't had an all-star appearance. Last year, he did struggle beginning of the season, but he did turn it around towards the end. In 2022, he finished 2nd in Cy Young voting, a 14-8 record, and a 2.2 ERA. Very strong stuff there. Last year, though, he made all 33 of his starts with a 4.58 ERA and a 7-9 record. Of course, these are White Sox. This was a White Sox team that wasn't good. They had a lot of clubhouse issues coming out throughout the season. Players just weren't performing, especially offensively. The pitching was hit or miss, but when you've got guys who aren't, stepping up to the plate, I mean, the offense as a whole was pretty pathetic last year from the White Sox. Dylan Cease, he has 1 more year left of arbitration, so obviously the White Sox, a lot of trade rumors circled him this offseason. As of recording this, he is still a Chicago White Sox. I think their hopes is that they get to move him at some point this season, whether it be at the deadline, even now before the season starts. But, it's been a weird offseason. We still have guys like Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery still unsigned. So why lose your prospects and trade for Dylan Cease when you can lose some money and get a 2-time Cy Young winner in Blake Snell, or a pitcher who took his team to the World Series? It's a mystery to me. And speaking of mysteries, another guy I want to talk about here quickly, Garrett Crochet. This guy got drafted in 2020, signed in 2020, and debuted in 2020. He immediately got the call with the White Sox, and he was very good in 5 games and 6 innings, where he struck out 8 batters and didn't give up a single run, only gave up 3 hits. The following year, 2021, he was pretty good, a 2.82 ERA in 54 innings of work, and 65 strikeouts. 2022, dealing with injuries, was not playing, and then 2023 was a rocky year for Garrett Crochet. He hit the IL 3 separate times last year and missed just over half of the season, if not longer, dealing with all 3 of those separate injuries. And like I mentioned, I think at the beginning, Garrett Crochet, the White Sox are trying to possibly convert him into a starter. That's what they want to do, so we'll see how his spring training goes, how he is. But I remember when this guy came up, 102 Dotton pitches, and we really haven't heard from him much since, because of how little time he's played. Like I said, last year, 3 different IL stints. He only played in 13 games and had an innings pitch of 12.2, so he really wasn't around much, the White Sox, last year. He's going to be 25 this year, and hopefully he gets some more opportunities and stays healthy, whether it be from the bullpen or if the White Sox do convert him into that 5th starter, and he is there. We'll have to see how that goes. One other guy I want to talk about, Eric Fedde. Some of you may remember him on the Nationals, because he's been there from 2017 all the way to 2022, 6 years with the Nationals, where he was pretty bad. His best year, I guess, would be 2020, which is COVID year, where his ERA was 4.29. That was his best ERA, 4.29. In his 6-year career, all with the Nationals, 21-33 record and a 5.41 ERA in 454 innings pitched, So not great. No one really wanted him when he hit free agency last year. He ended up going to the KBO, to the NC Dinos, where he was untouchable. How untouchable? Well, he was 20-6 with a record, a 2 ERA in 30 games. Of those 30 games he pitched, 21 were quality starts. Only gave up 40 earned runs and 9 home runs while striking out 209 batters. And, if you're wondering, okay, well, was that good or not? He was the MVP in the KBO League. He is the first American or first foreign pitcher in the KBO to capture the pitching triple crown. He led the league, strikeouts, wins, ERA, everything. He was electric and amazing in the KBO. And he's coming back to the majors. So, I mean, you look at his major league career and it is bad, very bad. But you look at last year only in the KBO, he could be a very interesting player to watch this year for the White Sox. Definitely keep your eyes open when he's on the mound. He is expected to be the second guy in that rotation. So, who is he going to be? Is he going to come back to the majors and get his stuff rocked like he was doing with the Nationals? Or is he going to come back and whatever he figured it out in the KBO is going to be that? Is he going to be a Cy Young winner this year? Because he was amazing in the KBO. So it's definitely a storyline to watch. Of course, he was with the Nationals in his 6 years with the major leagues. The Braves and the Mets and the Phillies, really good teams. The AL Central, Twins, Tigers, Guardians, there's some talent, but they're not as good as the NL East. So maybe that will help out in Eric Fedde's favor. No matter how bad he plays, I think he'll have a sub 4.29 ERA. I think this is going to be his best season in the majors, hopefully. Will it be on the same level as his KBO numbers? I highly doubt it, but he's definitely a very interesting player going into this season. I've seen a lot of interesting things about him for fantasy even. Where does he rank in terms of some pitchers there? Because obviously, you go off KBO numbers, very, it's what you want, but you can't always trust that. So, keep your eyes open when watching Eric Fedde, especially during spring training. He's definitely going to be a storyline for the 2024 season. But as a whole, going back to the White Sox, it's going to be one of those years where you're just trying out certain players. You have some young talent that you're kind of holding on to a little bit just so they don't start their service time clock. That's why they got so many minor leaguers, I'm sorry, but if Mike Moustakas and Jesse Chavez and Kevin Pillar and Corey Knebel, if these guys are coming out for the White Sox, that's going to be a fun watch. You get to see some of these guys that, have done it for so long. And if they can play even just slightly a little bit like their primes, Mike Moustakas with the Royals, Corey Knebel with the Brewers, Kevin Pillar with the Blue Jays, if you just have a little bit of that, Brett Phillips magic with the Rays, you're talking about a possibly fun watch, and I think for the White Sox fans, you're kind of just hoping for the best out of your players. If Corey Lee comes up as a catcher, does he get some opportunity? Is he going to play well? How good can Gavin Sheets be? It's slightly different. You lost Tim Anderson, you lost Yasmani Grandal, Liam Hendricks. Those are some of the guys who, for the White Sox, have been the mainstays. The bullpen, in my opinion, got worse. Paul DeYoung as a replacement shortstop, he'll hold the position for the year maybe. Andrew Vaughn, 26-year-old, how much can he bat? He was probably one of the better players after Robert Jr. last year. And how good can Eloy be? Can Yoan Moncada prove that he is a top third baseman and is worth $25 million? Is Yoan Moncada gonna have that breakout year of 35 home runs? No, that's not going to be the case. But how good can you get these guys? Andrew Benintendi as well. Yeah, it's just a bunch of storylines. Can Michael Soroka find the Braves for his old Brave, years? Can Eric Fedde be that guy? Can Michael Kopech and Garrett Crochet, two pitchers we kept hearing about, these flame-throwing, amazing pitchers, can they figure it out? Can they stay healthy? All those are the big things for the White Sox that I'm just not 100% sold on, and that's why I think they're going to be a poor team in 2024. I think they're going to finish fifth in the division, and you know, I think other people would agree with that statement. It's not going to be a great year for White Sox, but it could be fun if, like I said, some of those players, Michael Soroka, Eric Fedde, if some of them are going, Garrett Crochet, it could be a fun year for the White Sox. The FanDuel has the over-under at 63.5. Last year, they were 61 and 101. Do I think they're going to win 64 games? This is the first round where it's actually maybe the White Sox can get, 65, 66 wins, depending on how the Guardians play, depending on how the Twins go. It's kind of tricky. I'm looking at this lineup and I'm looking at, like if everyone's going, if Dylan Cease stays for the whole year, if Eric Fedde, plays like his KBO numbers, like you could talk me into a high, like a good White Sox team, or at least like above 64 wins. But like obviously I'm doing these or like the way these are being sent out. I'm doing these orders. So I've only done so far Oakland and Colorado. But maybe I get to the Guardians and I just don't like what they have there. I think for now I might change this when I get to the Guardians, when I get to the Twins. For now I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take the under on the White Sox for less than 63 wins. But if we get to the Guardians, if we get to the Twins, and I'm looking through these teams, and I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe I'll come back and I'll change the White Sox one. But for now, I will stick with the under. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening to another TOP. This is the first one today, so expect one more. If not already out now, then very shortly. Thank you, everybody, so much, and I will see you guys next time.